Good evening and welcome to the meeting this evening. Would you all please stand? We'll be led in prayer by Alderwoman Tracy Berto.
Almighty God, we ask for your blessing upon the members of this council as we assemble here in this chamber to conduct the ongoing business of our city. With your guidance, we will strive to ensure that all of our decisions are for the common good, and your inspiration will instill respect, compassion, and thoughtfulness in all of our deliberations. Give us the strength and wisdom to lead by example as the people's representatives, and that peace and harmony will mark all of our proceedings and keep us faithful to the trust placed in us by the citizens of your community. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Alderman Singh, please. I don't know. We're both leaning to the right. Good evening, everyone. Before we begin the citizen comment general, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate Alderman Grant Neuendorf, who got married on Friday night, and he's here with us. It was a beautiful mass and ceremony, and one of the nicest receptions I've ever attended in my life. And if you didn't have fun that night, it's your own fault. It was a great time, but congratulations to you and your bride, Jasmine.
Thank you. Citizen comment general?
Thank you. As we begin citizen comment general at this time, I'm going to ask for the motion to suspend our rules for the purpose of allowing a fifth grader to speak to us at this time. He was actually hoping to speak on Resolution 4, but look, we talk a lot and we extend meetings, and it'll be past his bedtime. So if you would please do so. Thank you. Alderwoman Berto, second Alderwoman Gould. Is there discussion on motions to suspend our rules? Seeing none, roll call.
Alderman Nash?
Yes.
Alderwoman Berto?
Yes.
Alderman Singh?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Neuendorf?
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes. Thank you. The motion to suspend passes 7-0. Under that vein, I declare citizen comment general open, and I would invite our first speaker, Silas Hess, to address the council.
Oh, you're done.
Do I speak now?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Silas Hess. I live at 21 Ricky Lane in Oakdale and 12 Kern Street in Norwich. I am a fifth grade student at St. Patrick's Cathedral School. Thank you for letting me speak during this early comment period in favor of the Avalonia resolution. I feel the environment needs to be spread out more in Norwich and not just where you would be trespassing. And preserves are important for animal life to be able to roam around free and not be stuck in the same places. These are places where people are welcome to, because there will be hiking trails, little sitting spots, and wildlife to watch. Grass and trees will be there, as well as drinking water for the animals. Paths will be made out of dirt and wood for bridges. Also, maybe people could pull little wagons and push strollers on the trail. Maybe use wheelchairs too. Many things are destructive to the environment, vehicles plus big power tools that run on oils and gasoline. Avalonia would only use environmentally responsible tools and non-toxic paint on signs. This would be a place where people leave the plant life alone. Dogs will be welcome, but only on leashes. There will be no taking or disturbing of animals allowed. I hope people will keep a small object in the bag so they don't lose them. Rules will be at a welcome board at the start. I hope there will be no screaming or yelling because that would frighten the wildlife. I also hope that any videos and pictures will be taken without a flash so as not to scare the animals. I like the idea of the land being preserved forever and no one being able to put stores, shops, or other buildings on it. Anything you bring in, you will have to take out, including bottles, cans, food bags, and plastic bags. And if anything is left behind, contact info should be on it so it can be returned. There will be no release or abandonment of pet animals. The preserve will be open from sunrise to sunset. I hope people will report fallen trees and other conditions. Preserves are good for children, even little kids who are 5 or 6. They learn about the environment and about doing good and being responsible. More people would want to come to Norwich if there were fewer places with fewer buildings and more quiet. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Great message. Our next speaker is Beryl Fishbone.
Thank you. Beryl Fishbone, 19 Bliss Place. And I hope you're all going to be using your mics tonight. Good evening. On a number of fronts, Norwich, Connecticut is in a state of crisis. The can has been kicked down the road in the case of our need for a new police station, new schools, a new water sewage treatment plant, and now the city is looking to open a number of bonds, which are simply loans taken out by a municipality for a hopefully low interest rate, which the residents will pay through their taxes. Did I forget that it's a property assessment year? So I imagine the value of my home and property will be going up, as will my taxes, with a decrease in the mill rate, of course. Then there's the secrecy of the actions that are taking place. Where is the new police station going to be? Why is it a secret? Is it a possibility that there's land to be purchased with a commission to be paid? A deal amongst friends? Then there are the issues with the new business industrial park and the neighbors whose issues are not being heard or addressed. Not to mention the federal issues for the future wind farm motors that are hoped to be one of the industries produced in the park. We may need to hunt for another central industry. The fire department currently needs some new equipment and will need more support in the near future. Is anything being planned for those future expenses? The public schools are having a crisis of their own. Norwich public schools are in the bottom 5 schools in the state of Connecticut. The children in those schools are our future. Our teachers and other staff have stated publicly they are afraid, that they are afraid of their administrators and that no one has had their backs, including the elected members of the current school board. The ease with which a public event is scheduled and held depends on the people involved, and the procedures for everyone are not always the same. The ease with which a business is opened depends on the people involved, and the procedures for all are not always the same, even when they are the same type of business. I've heard that some of the voting places have been moved, including mine, but I have not been notified of any changes. Mr. Mayor, Mr. City Manager, Mr. City Attorney, ladies and gentlemen of the council, it is time for all of this and more to stop. I am asking for transparency in government actions. As an active voter, I want to make informed decisions, and that means I get to know all of the details before I vote. Maybe not all of them, but at least the locations of where the bond money is going to be spent. I want public forums and public hearings where residents are encouraged to speak and to be heard. I want questions to be asked and to be answered. I want the rules for one to be the same as the rules for another. Jason Vincent wrote a step-by-step guide on how to get things done in the city, how to open a business, how to schedule an event, and I would like to see it reviewed, updated, and used. There always seems to be enough money and time to do it over. to pay someone on administrative leave while another is found to fill the vacancy. The City of Norwich residents built a huge auditorium at Kelly Middle School that has the facility to broadcast meetings. It's accessible and has parking. There's always time for special meetings and hearings, but not enough time to take the appropriate actions in the beginning. We, the residents, are looking to you for leadership. If not now, then when will the time be right? Thank you.
Thank you. Frederick Browning.
Hi, Frederick Browning, 671 Scotland Road. Well, I don't think I'm going to top the first two speeches. But in any case, what I wanted to bring up tonight is the whole issue of responsiveness. The voters and the citizens in the neighborhoods in areas such as Ockham, Scotland Road, Lawler Lane, the group that I represent, Preserving Norwich Neighborhoods, is looking for protections and limitations on Business Park North. And these limitations would include height restrictions on about half a dozen buildings and a 150-foot barrier between the boundary of resident lines and where the parking lots or the factories start. One of the interesting things was on Saturday, we took drones up and put them up at 75 feet, 100 feet, 50 feet. And by the time you get up to about 75 feet, you're over the top of the crown of the trees. I knew that because I was watching over the drone operator's shoulder and watching the film of as the drone elevated. Okay, I can't see anything at 50, it's shielded by trees. 105, you're way up over the tree line. So just a small thought. But besides the limitations on the boundaries and the heights, I think we're also looking to partner with politicians who would be willing to write in a few basic restrictions or help us get a few basic restrictions on the NCDC plan for the area. Because what we want is written protections for us and our fellow property owners. Last point, you guys don't have to listen to any of this, okay? It's this, how responsive you want to be is up to you. But I would suggest that we would be very open to talking to people who would listen to us. And there have been a number of you who have talked to us, and I appreciate it. And I hope that process will continue. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak to us on non-agenda items at this time? Please, Ms. Filbert.
Joanne Philbrook, Norwich Town. I'll try to keep it within 3 minutes, but based upon my age and my disability, I think you can give me a little bit of wiggle room. Beryl touched on a lot of subjects that I would like to touch on also. I don't want to be redundant, but I think it sends a message to you. I'm looking at you right now, and I'm looking at who's looking at me and who could care less. I want to remind you all that you are there to serve us. You ask for it in your prayer. You ask for guidance to be the people's representative. You only want to hear from the people that agree with you. You don't want to hear from the people that don't. One of you recently told me I was annoying. I consider that a compliment because you know what? It means that you're paying attention. And I want to tell you that your new audio system is spot on. So what I would caution you to be careful what you whisper in your mic, because I can pick up every single word on that little device. Every single word. So I want to talk to you about a couple of things. $360 million for the schools. $199 million for the wastewater, $6 million for the roads, and $45 million for a police station whose location has yet to be divulged. You add those all up, and it comes to $609 friggin' million. That's more than $500 million. Where do you think the money is going to come from in a city that prides itself on being distressed? Yes, we're going to have the reevaluation, our property. Am I boring you, Joe? Because you look like you're either bored or annoyed. So to go back to the police station, it's irresponsible for you to think that we as taxpayers could vote in the affirmative, even if it's sorely needed, when we have no idea where it's going. Do we own the land? Do we have to buy the land? Is it land that needs to be readapted where things might have to be moved? What kind of environmental studies have you done? What kind of if it goes in a neighborhood, what kind of neighborhood impact does it have? Light pollution, air pollution? You have to start listening and talking to your constituents. You have to. Because if you don't, the alternative is something that you're not going to like. There is a great deal of anger and frustration in this country today. A lot. You can take that for however you want to digest it. But the easiest way to address it is to be open and listen to your people, regardless of whether they voted for you or they didn't vote for you. If we want to grow as a city, we have to be able to communicate. You don't communicate. Some of you do, but most of you don't. You're all running for re-election in 50 days. You got a lot of work to do. Don't be kissing the babies and shaking hands and then forgetting. Because we can't forget. We can't. We deal with it every single day. I personally make the analogy. I think the city right now is suffering from a case of adult attention deficit hyperactivity disorder on steroids. You have so many projects going on. I can't keep them straight in my mind. I want to see one project from beginning to end with a return on the investment and then move on to the next. So I know we'll stand here tonight, we'll talk about other things, and unfortunately, will things change? In my 20 years that I have been here, I have found that, unfortunately, the needle doesn't move very far. So thank you, and if I annoy you, it shows that I'm doing something right. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'd also like to address the council on non-agenda items at this time. Anyone else like to address us on non-agenda items at this time? Anyone else like to address us on non-agenda items at this time? Seeing no one else, I then declare it closed. Thank you all.
Public hearing. An ordinance appropriating $199,200,000 for the water pollution control facility upgrade project in the city of Norwich, authorizing the issuance of $199,200,000 revenue bonds of the city secured solely by the sewer, revenue to meet said appropriation, and authorizing the city and Department of Public Utilities to enter into grant and loan agreements and a joint resolution with the state of Connecticut with respect hereto.
Thank you. I have a letter from the commission on the city plan, please. For the record, the public hearing is declared open, and if we could now have that read into the record as well. Thank you.
The Honorable Mayor and all the persons of the Council of the City of Norwich, an ordinance appropriating $199,200,000 for the water pollution control facility upgrade project in the City of Norwich, authorizing the issuance of $199,200,000 revenues of the city secured solely by the sewer revenue to meet said appropriation, and authorizing the city and Department of Public Utilities to enter into grant and loan agreements and a joint resolution with the state of Connecticut with respect hereto. The Commission on the City Plan at September 11th, 2023 hybrid special meeting reviewed and discussed the above referenced referral. Seated were Frank Manfredi, Dean Nason, James Cordo, Ella Miles, and Jason Corder. After careful consideration, the Commission voted unanimously to forward a favorable recommendation for the upgrade of the sewer treatment plant to maintain adequate community facilities it is in line with the plan of conservation with the development POCD. Signed, Frank Manfredi, Chairman.
Thank you. At this time, I would ask anyone wishing to speak in favor of this ordinance, approach the dais. Please state your name and address for the public record. 3 minutes, please. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the ordinance at this time? Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the ordinance at this time? Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this ordinance at this time? Seeing no one, is there anyone here in opposition to the ordinance at this time? Would anyone like to speak to the council in opposition to the ordinance at this time? Please.
Phil Brick, 10 Elm Avenue. So I'm a little in a state of confusion again. I'm not very good at math, and I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around the fact that NPU says my bill is going to go down between $55 and $70 a month, but I'm going to have, along with a small portion of the city, a $199 million debt hanging over my head. So I asked the question of the gentleman here, how is this going to appear on my bill? And they were unable to give me an answer. I know right now that I'm on a budget plan with NPU, and my budget plan is $370 a month. There are 2 people in my house, me and my son. We're very frugal. So I don't understand how this is going to work. And again, I know that we have to do it. But I think again that it's irresponsible to present these things without a way for the public we don't vote on NPU's budget. We have no say. We are the stockholders. It's a public utility. So now they're floating this thing, they want to give a 10% discount to low-income families and blah, 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 blah. That 10% is my money. It's your money. I don't understand it. I think it goes back to what Beryl said. Where is the transparency? Where is the discussion? If you want to find out something, you have to dig. You have to go to the city website, which is a topic for a discussion on an entirely different level. You have to search and dig and search, and then if you ask a question, people think that you're annoying or you're challenging or infringing on their territory. We all want this city to move forward. But you have to be open. I put myself out here every time I come up from the mic. I don't have any secrets. I don't have any secrets from you. I question you and challenge you for free. I don't make $160,000, $250,000 a year. And when this meeting is over, I will get in my car and I'll drive 3 miles up the road to Elm Avenue, which is where I have resided for the last 20 years. I don't get in my car and go to Preston or Basra or Mystic. Please, listen to the people. Please. How are we going to pay for this? When all you have left in this city is people on Section 8 or people who are availing themselves of the incredible benefits at Human Services, what's the saying? Please turn out the... Thank you.
Thank you. I'd also like to speak in opposition to the ordinance at this time. I would also like to speak to opposition to the ordinance at this time. Again, would anyone like to speak opposition to this ordinance at this time? Seeing no one else, I declare the public hearing closed. Thank you.
Number 2, relative to participation in the cost-sharing program with the City of Norwich to construct concrete sidewalks.
Thank you. At this time, I declare this public hearing open. I would like to speak in favor of this. Please do so at the microphone. State your name and address for the public record. And I'd like to speak in favor of the sidewalk program. Anyone wish to speak in favor of the sidewalk program? Anyone like to speak in favor of the sidewalk program? Yep. Please, sir.
Hello, my name is Tucker Braddock, and I live at 868 Scotland Road, and this sound system is fantastic. I'd like to speak in favor of the sidewalk program. Having had a business in Norwich, it was a way for us to improve our sidewalks, make it safer for our customers and our employees. It's a very positive aspect of cleaning up in front of our homes and our businesses. So I would be in favor of that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Again, would anyone else like to speak in favor of this program at this time? And wish to speak in favor of the program at this time? And we wish to speak in favor of the program at this time. Seeing no one else, is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this program at this time? Anyone wish to speak in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing no one, I declare this public hearing closed. Thank you.
Second reading and action on the above ordinance previously presented. Number 1, an ordinance appropriating $199,200,000 for the water pollution control upgrade project in the City of Norwich, authorizing the issuance of $199,200,000 revenue bonds of the city secured solely by the SOA revenue to meet said appropriation, and authorizing the City and Department of Public Utilities to enter into a grant and loan agreements and a joint resolution with the State of Connecticut with respect hereto.
Thank you. I ask for a motion at this time to bring this to the floor. Alderman Nash, second, Alderman Singh. Is there discussion? Well, I'll speak briefly about it. This is a difficult choice, but it's the one we must do. It's about the quality of the river. It's also about securing, at this time, probably the best deal we think we're going to get. We have an increased level of grant from the state's Clean Water Fund that normally is not available. It's a difference of between 20 to 22% to 36%. That's a lot of money in a grant form. Someone earlier spoke about a favorable interest rate. The interest rate is 2%, which is pretty favorable. It's through the Clean Water Fund, the state of Connecticut. And at the end, when this is all complete, we'll have a very significant nitrogen reduction in our river, and that's to the benefit of all, not just people here tonight, but the future generations of this city as well. So I'm going to be supporting it for those reasons. I want to make sure we keep the grants that have been negotiated at this time. So, roll call, please.
Alderman Nash?
Yes.
Alderman Berto?
Yes.
Alderman Singh?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Neuendorf?
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes. Thank you. The ordinance is adopted 7-0.
So, petition and communication number 1, report from the Commission on City Plan of the City of Norwich pursuant to Section 8-24 of the General Statutes and Chapter 15, Section 4 of the Norwich City Charter, an ordinance appropriating $199,200,000 for the water pollution control facility upgrade project in the City of Norwich, authorizing the issuance of $199,200,000 revenue bonds of the city secured solely by the sewer revenue to meet said appropriation, and authorizing the city and Department of the Public Utilities to enter into a grant and loan agreements and a joint resolution with the state of Connecticut for respect hereto.
Thank you. A motion, please, to receive. Alderwoman Gould, second. Alderman Singh. Is there discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Nash?
Yes.
Alderwoman Berto?
Yes.
Alderman Singh?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould? Alderman Neuendorf?
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes. Thank you. The motion passes 7-0.
City Manager's report.
Thank you. This is the city manager's report for September 18th, 2023. Meetings attended were Connecticut Interlocal Risk Management Agency, Board of Directors, Connecticut Conference of Municipalities, MPU City Coordination Meeting, NCDC and Board of Directors meeting. I also met with emergency operations staff due to hurricane possibilities. The storm remained out to sea, but the city was on alert for wind damage and power outages. The city has issued the first bill for the 3% tax on gross receipts of cannabis. For the partial month, the tax will be $5,245.35. The first of several land use trainings were held on September 7th, 2023, through the Center of Land Use Education and Research and COG. The State of Connecticut Public Act 21-29 requires 4 hours of training for all land use officials, members, and commissions by January 1st, 2024, and every other year thereafter, which includes City Council, CCP, IWWC, and ZBA members. My assistant, Jackie Barbarossa, is tracking participants' hours and informing them of upcoming training sessions to fulfill their credits. The city must report training compliance by March 1st, 2024. The Human Services Division were represented in the past month at 6 back-to-school events and 2 other community-wide events, providing resources, information, and school supplies to hundreds of Norwich students and families. Norwich Youth, Family, and Recreation fall activities start this week with over 40-plus programs available. They are also holding the Rose City Block Party on September 23rd with a rain date of the 24th at 75 Mohegan Road. The Southeastern Council of Governments has received a Connecticut DOT grant to conduct a corridor study of downtown Norwich. The study goals include improvement to livability, mobility, access to essential services, safe routes to the waterfront and Howard T. Brown Park, the Intermodal Transportation Center, the Norwich Marina, and other downtown destinations. The study process includes a number of opportunities for public engagement. To take the short survey, please visit the study website at downtownnorwichmobilitystudy.com or visit the city's Facebook page. The 46th Annual Greek Food Festival will be held at Trinity Greek Orthodox from September 28th through the 30th, and that's after a 3-year hiatus. Attached is the fire chief's report to public safety held on September 13th, 2023. And that concludes my report for this evening.
Thank you, John. I would add a small bit of information, then open up to the floor if any members have questions. I did receive a call from the Commissioner's Office of DOT late this afternoon. The new anticipated notice to the city of a new recommended redesign of Route 82 we can expect near the end of October at this time. When that is shared with the city, they will be looking to share it and take public comment in the month of November. I actually had hoped it would have been done by Labor Day, but that has come and gone. But their office notified me of that this afternoon. Do members have questions for the city manager at this time? Seeing none, John, again, thank you for your report.
You're welcome.
Citizen comment general on resolutions?
Thank you. At this time, I declare citizen comment on resolutions to be open. The first person signed up is Ilana Sherman, please.
My name is Alana Sherman. I live at 65 Cedar Street in Norwich, and I'm on the board of Avalonia Land Conservancy. I urge the council to vote positively on the resolution to support Avalonia's forthcoming open space grant application. This land would be stewarded by and preserved in perpetuity by Avalonia, a mostly volunteer regional land trust based in New London County. Avalonia has a 55-year history as one of the most esteemed land trusts in the state. It now owns about 5,000 acres throughout the county and recently began acquiring land in Norwich, making it one of the few such organizations in Connecticut to take an interest in preserving land in a designated distressed community. Avalonia sees and practices land preservation as a collaborative effort among municipalities, neighboring property owners, affordable housing advocates, and the entire greater community. Through events and programs such as free guided walks, we regularly introduce people to their local natural environments. And we want that experience to be available to as many people as possible. Indeed, copious amounts of research, I can share links with anyone interested, show that access to the outdoors promotes physical, mental, and cognitive health in our youngest residents to our oldest. We have collaborated with Latino Outdoors and Outdoor Afro, and we intend to ramp up those collaborations in Norwich. For our accessibility initiative, Avalonia received the Connecticut Land Conservation Council's first Excellence in Communication Engagement Award. Mayor Nystrom spoke at the award ceremony in Norwich. Thank you, Mayor Nystrom. I would like to end my testimony with a nod to Silas Hess, the 5th grader who spoke earlier to support this resolution. Silas represents a very young generation of environmentalists who see land preservation as a moral imperative. Silas's testimony was all his ideas, his words. And his testimony included some directives for Avalonia. Happily, in most cases, we share his approach, but we do use gas-powered mowers when necessary. Silas addressed just about every touchstone of the argument for preservation: wildlife conservation, the importance of trees, the value of broad participation, the significance of open space as a key component of development, and more. I hope you concur with his perspective and vote in favor of the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Robert Phoenix.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, members of Norwich City Council, I'd like to speak to you this evening about the proposal that's coming before you and resolution number 4. I became aware of this agenda item last Friday and read with interest that the proposal by Avalonia Land Trust was to acquire 4 properties immediately adjacent to my property at 302 Old Canterbury Turnpike. As listed, the properties are 282, 292, 300R, and 318R Old Canterbury Turnpike. To go back about a year prior to reading the resolution, I became aware of the Google Maps being revised, and their geographic information system had included my driveway as 302 Old Canterbury Turnpike. I'm sorry, 300R Old Canterbury Turnpike, which is, again, listed in the proposal. Until last Friday, I thought nothing of it, and then I read the proposal by Avalonia Land Trust acquisition. And because of my limited and inaccurate information, I was going to speak to make sure there were assurances in the accuracy of the addressing. Thankfully, I have spoken with a number of people who are intimately involved with this acquisition, and I'm now confident that the address conflict of 300R is not, in fact, my driveway, but is, in fact, the right-of-way that provides access to the properties for which the acquisition addresses. Therefore, I would like to speak, beg your pardon. Therefore, I would like to provide Avalonia Land Trust and the mayor and the members of the council that the resolution number 4 has my complete support. Also, after speaking with a number of residents in the Canterbury Turnpike area, they are also in complete support of this land trust acquisition. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Frederick Browning.
Frederick Browning, 671 Scotland Road. This will be really quick. Avalonia is a really quality organization. When they take responsibility for a piece of land, they send out groups of people to walk the property at least once a year. So they will call you ahead of time, they will show up at your property, and they will spend however long it takes making sure that that property is preserved, no one's dumping trash on it, and that it's basically they're just very good stewards of the land. So I just wanted to, quickly, say that that's been my experience with them. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to address the resolutions at this time?
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Apologize for not signing up out front. I'd like to speak on resolutions 2 and 4. I'll stick with the theme and start with 4. You're all very familiar with the fact that we are looking to develop Business Park North just south of the 101 acres that the resolution regarding Avalonia is located at. I come here tonight in full support of Resolution 4. I think it demonstrates that here in this city and under the plan of conservation and development, we can support both conservancy and highest and best use of land without one being at risk because of the other. I think it's a great opportunity, really, for all of us to both take care of the land and also generate tax revenue where its highest and best use of the land is most appropriate. I'd also like to speak briefly on Resolution 2. I've actually got 2 documents with me here today. One is dated 1987, the other one's dated 2012. They both say the new harbor. And here we are, it's 2023, and it has been said, it is said, the past is prologue to the future. I think we have an opportunity this time around to actually look to the future and not get hindered by or anchored to the past where things didn't happen. A public-private venture, a public improvement to the waterfront writ large, not just the marina, but the waterfront itself, is in the best interest of this whole community. And anything that can help move that and maintain that momentum would be a benefit to the whole city. So I stand here in support of both resolutions 2 and 4. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And anyone else like to speak to the resolutions at this time? Yes, Ms. Hayes.
Good, good evening, Sheila Hayes, 382 Laurel Hill Avenue. Um, I'd like to speak on the resolution number one, just briefly. I know Tucker Braddock spoke about it earlier, about the importance of the sidewalk cost-sharing program, and I applaud every time a property owner wants to participate in the cost-sharing program for the sidewalks. That is a welcome effort on the side of the city as well as the property owner, and glad to see that we're continuing to promote that program, and property owners are taking advantage of it. Support items number 2, 4, 5, and I want to get specifically to number 6, because that is a proposal of a project that I have been working on over in the Greenville section. This particular resolution addresses the Greenville playground, basketball court, the wall behind it. I just want to, all of you should have a image, a photo image of about what that mural design will look like. I just want to explain, if you've never seen the wall, it is not an even wall. It is stone, it is uneven, it has its own character, I'll put it that way. So the design will try to conform it to the wall to the best that we can, the wall will allow the design to work. But more importantly, this is the effort of 3 artists with almost 40 youth from elementary all the way through early college age students. They worked on this over 3 sessions to come up with an idea on how they could promote more positive images in an area that's been neglected, abandoned, often graffitied on that wall, not so nice words or expressions have been put on the wall. And so we're hoping that this will bring back a sense of pride. At the same time, most of you know that in the Greenville and that area, violence has, especially youth violence, has been at the forefront. And this was a way to bring the youth together to start to work on collaborative efforts. So they could start talking through and working through instead of using guns or other means of violence to settle issues or to deal with their disputes. The wall, I'll just quickly go through. The rose to the, on the wall represents the Rose City Step Team. They were passionate, that was one of the groups, and they really felt that they do want to promote Norwich as the Rose of New England. The sunsetting has to do with setting of the negative dreams, or the negative, not dreams, the setting of the negative social issues that the youth have been facing, especially since the pandemic and somewhat before. And then the globe at the end with the hands, with the light shining, is really the upward bringing of their dreams to have a more global and positive impact. And within inside of it will be a map of the city of Norwich, some type of image that will designate the city of Norwich within inside the globe. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, anyone else to speak to us at this time? And citizen comment or resolutions? Yes, Tucker, please.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. The Harbor Commission has worked for about 6 years with the support of our City Council, to get some new docks and a new way for people who would not normally have access to it to get down on the docks. So I'm very much in favor of 4, and the fact that it's opening up the rivers, Shetucket, east and west branch of the Yantic, the Thames River, for more people to come into our community as a destination. And I'm happy that the council has stood behind this and allocated more funds through the Clean Air Act so that we can go forward with more of the docks. the parks too. I think that if we can allocate more land for people to walk on through the Abalonia Trust. I use the Abalonia Trust quite often. Most of my property is surrounded by the Abalonia Trust. And I feel very secure that it will be surrounded forever. And I have the peace and quiet of animals straying onto my land and enjoying the land. And I hope that we can continue with these kind of projects so that people can walk on them. I noticed in walking on these trails through Preston and Stonington and Griswold that when COVID happened, a lot of people came out that I'd never seen before. Entire families enjoying walking alongside of a stream bed, looking at Boston ferns or looking at fiddlehead ferns, or just enjoying the outside. So as many of these as we can establish, I hope that we do think of keeping these treasures of ours intact with something like the Abalonia Trust. I think it goes, you cannot build on them, you can harvest timber, and you may harvest stones, which seem very appropriate. And I hope we do continue with these two projects, and certainly with the efforts of with NCDC and their grant, hopefully their grant opportunities to open up the Thames River and the Shetucket and the east and west branch of the Antics. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And anyone would like to speak to us on resolutions on the agenda this evening? Anyone else like to address us on the resolutions on the agenda this evening? Anyone left wishing to address the council on the resolutions this evening? Seeing no one else, I declare general citizen comment closed. Thank you all.
New business resolutions, number 1, relative to the participation in cost-sharing program with the City of Norwich to construct concrete sidewalks.
Thank you. At this time, I'd ask for a motion to bring it to the floor. Alderman Nash, second Alderman Singh. Is there discussion at this time? Seeing none, the roll call, please.
Alderman Nash? Yes. Alderwoman Berto?
Yes.
Alderman Singh?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Neuendorf?
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes. Thank you. The resolution is adopted. Vote is 7-0.
Number 2, relative to the approval of the assignment of the ground lease and development agreement for the Norwich Marina to Patton Marina Holdings, LLC.
Thank you. At this time, I'd ask for a motion to bring it to the floor. Alderwoman Gould, second Alderman Nash. Is there discussion? Alderwoman Gould.
Thank you. I believe that Patton Marina Holdings, LLC will breathe new life into the marina and the waterfront as a whole, so I will be supporting this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there further comment? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Nash?
Yes.
Alderwoman Berto?
Yes.
Alderman Singh?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould? Yes. Alderman Neuendorf?
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes. Thank you. The resolution 2 is adopted 7-0.
Resolution number 3, relative to authorizing City Manager Solomon to negotiate any additional terms relative to the sale of 57 North Broth Street.
Thank you. At this time, I ask for a motion to bring this to the floor. Alderman Singh, is there a second? Alderman Nash, is there discussion? Alderwoman Gould.
I'd like to withdraw this resolution number 3 at the request of the Director of Public Works and the Public Works Committee for further investigation.
You're making that in the form of a motion, then?
Yes.
Thank you. The second is Alderman Singh.
No, actually, I have a comment as well.
We can accept comment following, but she's made a motion. We have to have a second.
Sure.
And now I'll leave the floor to you. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Please.
So should we table it for next meeting or should we withdraw it? That'll be my,
May not be ready for the next meeting,
okay.
so I think we're just gonna.
For the public record, please speak through the microphones.
Yep. So my only question was, should we withdraw it or should we table it? Because I know there's a little more investigation that needs to be done in this.
Either is sufficient, a motion to postpone, a motion to table, however, if it doesn't come back if it would have to come back at the next meeting, and if there's no action, it dies.
Okay. Perfect, thank you.
So, I think the motion to withdraw is appropriate.
Okay, thank you.
Roll call on the motion to withdraw?
Alderman Nash?
Yes.
Alderwoman Berto?
Yes.
Alderman Singh? Yes. Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Neuendorf?
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes. The motion to withdraw Resolution 3 passes 7-0. Thank you.
Number 4, relative to council support for Avalonia Land Conservancy's Open Space and Watershed Land Acquisition, OSWA, Grant Program application for the purchase of 282, 292, 300R, and 318R, Old Canterbury Turnpike.
Thank you. A motion, please, to bring this to the floor. Alderwoman Gould, second. Alderman Nash. Is there discussion? Alderwoman Gould?
I will be wholeheartedly supporting resolution number 4, and I hope with our consent that Avalonia Land Trust will be able to be awarded this grant to purchase the property.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? President Pro Tem.
I would just like to thank staff and I would imagine Corporation Counsel's office for clarifying for the neighbors of the properties that the property listings are correct and that we have the correct piece of property and that none of the neighbors will be adversely impacted by this action if it is in fact adopted by the council.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Alderman Singh.
Thank you. I'll just add that I did talk to some of the neighbors and they were on board. And I think even though we do have enough open space in our city, then it's required, but it's still a good use of the property and it doesn't hurt to add more open space. So thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Nash.
I just want to say thank you as well, but also if they get this, I hope they look for other spots because there's a lot of spots in Norwich that we can't build on for various reasons, and it would be great if they could take ownership and spruce those up for walking. And I'll give you one example, the old Nutmeg property along the river there, they're never going to be able to build there. It just looks like a big abandoned field. So if we could get somebody like this organization to jump in there and put little paths and benches and stuff to walk on, I think there would be a benefit to that section of town too. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? I would like to then go on record saying that I strongly support Resolution 4. I'd like to invite people to explore the city. There's a beautiful site on North Warwick's Hill Road. I think there's over 80-something different bird species that have been identified. It's a handicap accessible walking place, which is very unique. In fact, it drew an award recently, noting the effort that was put in to that particular, I think it's 29 acres, is that correct? 47? Oh, my mistake. It's even bigger and grander. But these properties represent a respect for the land. And I want to thank the Avalonia Society, including Alana Sherman and Dennis Main, who work so hard and do a lot of the physical manual labor themselves to prepare these sites. There's one that's burgeoning now on Hunter's Road, down in the Taffville section as well. When you combine those properties and our wonderful Mohegan Park, I think it speaks volumes for how much the people here in the city of Norwich support this open space opportunities. And at that, I'm going to conclude my statements and ask for a roll call. Sorry.
Alderman Nash?
Yes.
Alderwoman Berto?
Yes.
Alderman Singh?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Neuendorf?
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia? Mayor Nystrom?
Thank you. The resolution is adopted 7-0.
Number 5, relative to city manager being authorized to grant the Church of Divine Providence permission to sell beer at its Taste of Poland Festival.
Thank you. A motion, please, to bring this to the floor. Alderman Nash, second, Alderman Grant Neuendorf. Is there discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Alderman Nash?
Yes.
Alderwoman Berto?
Yes.
Alderman Singh? Yes. Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Neuendorf?
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia?
Yes?
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes. Thank you. Resolution 5 is adopted 7-0.
Number 6, relative to approving the location of the Greenville Playground wall for a mural and request the artist and those assisting them coordinate with the city planner and the Public Works Director.
Thank you. Motion, please, to move this to the floor. Alderman Singh, is there a second? Alderman Grant Neuendorf. Alderman Nash, you have your hand up.
Yes, sir. I would like to make a motion that we forward this resolution to the Monuments Committee to vet it a little bit better. I think murals are terrific. They're amazing. I used to own a restaurant, painted a big mural on it. I thought it brought a little more fun to the area that my restaurant was at, but I just feel that this should go through the Monuments Committee before we make a decision on it.
Thank you. Is there a second to the motion to move it to the monument? Alderman Grant Neuendorf, second. Is there discussion on the motion to refer to the Monument Committee? Alderman Singh.
Thank you very much. So we did had a little discussion about this before with Pat as well. Should we move this to Monument Committee? At that time, just for the record, it was said we don't really need it. But 2 of the members are the same, that sits on Public Works Committee and Monument Committee. But being a chair, I don't mind holding a meeting before our October meeting. So I'm sure we can set up a date so it can, whatever the decision is, can be given by our next meeting. Because they intend to start this project on October 7th, I believe. So we can still settle everything before then. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that information. Is there further discussion on the motion to refer? President Pro Tem.
Well, not specific to this issue, but this issue is another example of where we're still lacking in our policies and our procedures when it comes to these types of things. The 2 Rotary clubs came together and wanted to erect a clock at Howard T. Brown Park. They jumped through several hoops. They spent months and months and months of time going from the Monuments Committee to Commission on the City Plan, and then it finally came back to the Public Works Committee, and then came to the council. In this case, we're working a process kind of backwards. The Public Works Committee has already endorsed this, and now we're going back to the Monuments Committee. I think it's frustrating for people that are trying to do these kinds of things to bring cultural expression and artistic expression to the city in a variety of different ways. And every time a project like this comes forward, we reinvent the process that it has to follow. So again, I don't have a problem with what is proposed and what's on the floor. I'm just saying that at some point, this is my 6th year on the council, and we've been talking about this since day one, of having a consistent set of policies and procedures and protocols that one follows or that a group follows in order to put a project like this forward. Let's also not forget, here's the plug on the Cultural Coalition, that part of that discussion was about a public arts committee that involved all the stakeholders and became a one-stop shop, which was really, was the goal for the city, where, again, groups are not jumping through multiple hoops. They go to one place, they submit their project, it goes to everybody that has a say and everybody that has a stake in the game, and then once, that, that process is complete, then it moves to the council and it either moves forward or it doesn't. I still think we're lacking in getting there. Aside from that, as I said, I do not have a problem with the motion that is on the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there further comment? Seeing none, roll call on the motion to refer.
Alderman Nash?
Yes.
Alderwoman Berto?
Yes.
Alderman Singh?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Neuendorf?
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia?
Yes?
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes. Thank you. The motion to refer Resolution 6 to the Monuments Committee is adopted 7-0. Alderwoman Gould.
I hereby move pursuant to Connecticut General Statutes 1-200, subsection 6, that the members of the Norwich City Council go into executive session for the purpose of discussing the acquisition or disposition of real estate or interest in real estate when publicly regarding the proposed acquisition or disposition would cause a likelihood of an increased price to acquire and a diminished price to dispose of the property, and to review feasibility, evaluations, and reports made for the city of Norwich regarding such property, and to review information given the city in confidence, not required to be disclosed by law. Manager John Salamone, Comptroller Josh Pothier, President of Norwich Community Development Corporation Kevin Brown, Deanna Rhodes, Director of Planning and Neighborhood Services, Mark Block, Counsel for Norwich Community Development Corporation, and Corporation Counsel Michael Driscoll shall be asked to participate during all or portions of this executive session at the request of the City Council.
Thank you. Is there a second? Alderman Singh. Roll call, please.
Alderman Nash?
Yes.
Alderwoman Berto?
Yes.
Alderman Singh?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Neuendorf?
Yes.
President Pro Tem DeLucia?
Yes?
Mayor Nystrom?
Motion passes to go into executive session 7-0. Council will come back to order. Let the record show that no votes were taken in executive session.
To return?
Motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn by Alderwoman Gould,
Second.
second Alderwoman Berto.
Come back from.
First we have to vote on, we're back, we have to come back to session.
Motion to return.
We're skipping ahead,
I said
sorry.
motion to adjourn.
Skip ahead. I
Motion
said-
to return to the meeting.
That's what I said, motion
Thank
to
you,
return.
Gould, second, Berto. Okay, roll call.
Nash?
Oh, I'm sorry. Berto,
Yes.
Singh, Gould, Neuendorf, DeLucia, Nystrom, yes. Motion to adjourn, Gould. All right, Nash, second.
go.
Roll call, Nash,
Yes.
Berto, Singh,
Yes.
Gould,
Yes.
Neuendorf,
Yes.
DeLucia, Nystrom, yes. We are adjourned. Motion passed 7-0.